Welcome. Hey, this is Vinny DeRosa with FloridaRealEstateUniversity.com. And I want to welcome you to a unique, excuse me, got the coffees, unique type of podcast or video cast and podcast. I get asked questions constantly. I need help. Okay. What do you need help about? Well, I've decided to get my real estate license. And this is really, really complicated and cumbersome. And I'm really not sure about all the steps I need to take. And I get these calls constantly. And that's a great thing. I mean, I'm glad people do call to ask for information about how to go through the process of becoming licensed. Excuse me. So I'm going to take you through those steps, but I'm going to talk about the things that I can help you with that maybe some others maybe don't provide as much help. And in a little bit, I'm going to have a call in. I'm going to try it, see how that works, and see if I can attempt using multiple tasks at one time. I think I can multitask. So let me get back to the beginning. I've gotten calls in the last couple of weeks from people needing help to become licensed here in Florida. One person was from another state who was already licensed in that state and wanted to become licensed here in Florida. So we went through the entire process of the licensing, the applications, her requirements to become licensed here in Florida. And she went through that process and I helped her through and she passed the state exam. She had a little bit difficulty with it prior to me talking to her. So, we got through it and, it helped her out really well. She got through the state exam without any issues. The second was I had a call yesterday, actually a couple of days ago, from a referral from a former student who said, hey, give Vinny a call and see if he can help you. Well, this gentleman had taken a course online. He was thinking about coming to Florida, decided to take the course online and got through the material and all of a sudden found out that the textbook and the course were not in jive. They were using an older textbook versus the newer version of the course material. And I said, well, that's going to be a little bit tough because there have been some changes, but nothing dramatic to disrupt your study. So we addressed those issues, and I think we got them back on course. I've got some statistics here I'm going to get to in a minute to talk about how dramatic the numbers are. And people go, well, everybody in real estate, everyone in Florida has a real estate license. Well, back, when I started back in 1980, yeah, pretty much everyone had a real estate license. I mean, we're up to about 1 million people. And at some point they said, okay, if you haven't done anything in a long time, your license needs to go bye-bye. So a lot of people's licenses were null and void because they were not practicing or making use of it or taking any kind of continuing education. That is one of the things that has changed in the last 20, 25 years. I get monthly updates from the Florida Real Estate Commission as to statistics, as to how many people make application to take the state exam for the sales associate for the brokers, how many of them pass, and how many of them fail. Now, don't be shocked. Don't be alarmed. I'm going to put them up on the screen. I'm going to share them with you. Hopefully you got it. Yeah, I shrunk down. I know it might be a little bit tough to see. But I'm going to focus on the last 5 columns on the right-hand side, the top 2 columns. These are facts. This was the January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021 of the combined test taking, which were either in a testing center or online. Wow. Well, there were 114,807 people who made an application to take a test. Now, not everyone took it. They graded 94,173 people. That was last year alone. That was just last year in the pandemic. Years before, it's even been higher. So I'm going to go fast forwarding to total graded during that period, the entire year. These are people who have taken a test and were graded either for sales associate or broker. I'm going to start with the sales associate. 85,701 people took the test. That's, a lot of, hey, Cal, thanks. Cal and I go back many, many years as buyers agents. We still are. He's on the East Coast of Florida. Cal, thanks for chiming in there. Okay, so out of that 85,000, how many do you think passed? A number, and I'll go into percentages. What do you think? 50%? 75%? How about 33,246 out of 85,000 passed? That's a pass rate of 39%. Wow. I don't know about you, but 39% is not really great. I mean, I would hope you would do better than that. So the pass rate was 39%. Now, total failed out of that 85,000 was 52,455, or a fail rate of 61%. So let me talk a little bit about why. And it's the typical questions I get when people call about the classes that I provide with Florida Real Estate University. We all teach basically the same material that's approved by the state of Florida. Dearborn is the biggest publisher out there, and our eCampus is the system that I use and I've been using for the last 30 years. Here's the reason why. A lot of people get in and they try to slam through the material as quickly as possible. And I understand you want to get your license and you want to get through it. And you want to, get practicing real estate. But here's the thing. You're coming into a brand new profession. And I talk about this all the time whenever I speak to someone. I tried. There I am. I tell them that you're going into a new profession. It's vocabulary. You need to know what the words mean in order for you to grasp the definitions of them. And I usually tell people in the back of the book, there's a glossary. Take that glossary in the back, take an index card, write the word on the front and the definition on the back, and make that your study guide. Because again, any profession that you would go into, it either be real estate or even doctors, whatever it is, everyone has their own vocabulary. And you need to understand the vocabulary in order to do really well on the test. You can't just go in there and wing it and hope you can get through it. And some people try and do. But, if you want to have a better pass rate, then, I don't know, what was the pass rate? 39%. Take the time to learn the vocabulary. What can I do for you? I can do a lot. I can kind of analyze where your weaknesses and strengths are. I get calls all the time, and you don't have to be a student of mine. I mean, call me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. You don't have to be a student. I mean, it'd be great if you would become one, but that's not necessary. I'll give you my number, and it'll be in the link on the bottom of the page. And I'm going to give you my cell phone. Not even the office number, the cell phone, 941-544-7470. 941-544-7470. Call me anytime. All right, let me go over the stats for the brokers, and then I'm going to bring my caller, and we're going to try doing a call-in. Haven't done it yet. This will be a first, so bear with me. All right, so all the brokers who were graded last year, out of that 114,000, there was 8,070 that took the real estate brokers exam last year in Florida. 2,685 passed. That's a pass rate of 44%. 3,385 failed, or 58%. Again, I think I'm going back to, and again, I'll put these up there, and later on you can go back and take a look at the numbers. It goes back to, again, vocabulary. Hey, if Pete, if you want to chime in, let's try it and see if it works. If I can bring you in on the broadcast here, we'll find that if I am technically savvy enough yet. Anyway, I know that a lot of people aren't watching this right now, and that's fine. It'll be streaming. It'll be available. But what I can do for you is this: I can analyze what your weaknesses and strengths are, give you some guidance as to what you should be thinking about more than others. And I always get the question about, well, there's 100 questions. Yes, there are 90 questions that there are specific answers to. And again, analyzing the question and understanding, what they're asking is important, so that you can answer the question correctly. And they'll give you, two of them that are kind of like left field type questions. Oh boy, don't make sense. And then two of them that are going to be real close. Well, those real close ones will get you. Same with the math. I get that. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible at math. I am absolutely terrible at math. Well, you know what? There's 10 math problems. Yep. Let's see if it's coming through. Oops. Maybe not. I'm going to tell him to call me in now. See if we're going to try a live in call and see if that works. I'm experimenting with systems that I haven't touched in over a year since I got my eyesight back in the last 6 months. It's been tremendous being able to see again, believe me. So I think that vocabulary. And again, we don't have a lot of people eyeballs on it today yet, but people will see this in the rebroadcast. I want you to know that it's not that frightening. You're going to have to put some time in. You're going to have to spend some hours digesting new material. It's just like any other thing when you start out. It's all brand new and shiny, and there's a lot of little gotchas. But again, if you take the time and the energy to understand what you're reading, you'll not have so many difficulties. Guess it's not going to work. I thought I was going to. Anyway, I texted him. Like I said, we're in the testing phase of being able to take call-ins. I haven't done this before, so we're going to try it. Bear with me. So those stats are pretty much amazing. And here's the other one. There was another stat in here that kind of got my attention too. There were real estate instructors. All right. So there were 225 people who took the state exam for the real estate instructors. The pass rate on that was 63%. Well, I would hope that, 63%. I'm sorry, 63 passed it. The pass rate was only 28%. So that's pretty scary. You've got instructors who can't even pass the instructor's exam. So there was a 28% pass rate, 162 of them failed. So there was 72% failed. So that's a little daunting, is that there are people out there who are, I was never a great test taker, I'll be honest with you. It was not my forte. Let me try again. No, let's see. Just let me know when to call. Okay. I did. Bear with me, folks. This is a new experience for me. And you know what? I'm experimenting just like you are. I am learning. It's a new opportunity for all of us to learn new things. And I have no problems admitting my mistakes here. So let me go back to the beginning, how I can help you. Again, you don't have to be a student of mine. You could have, been online and, here we go. Let's try it. Pete?
Hello.
Hey there.
Hello, Vinny. How are you?
Good, Pete. Give him a shout out who you are and what you're doing with me here.
Well, hey, I'm Pete, and I'm a local business guy
In Crystal River, yeah.
In Crystal River, yep. And I've been kind of following what Vinny's doing, both in the real estate business and in podcasting. So I'm always interested in seeing what's new in his space.
Yeah, and I got to give a lot of kudos to him when I decided to revamp my entire website for Florida Real Estate University. He took it apart, dissected it, and made it as streamlined as it can be. And if you get a chance, just go take a look at FREU.com. His fingerprints and his wife's fingerprints are all over it. We've tried to make it simple and direct and not waste your time. Pete, any comment about some of these stats I just went over a little while ago?
Yeah, it strikes me that when we have about half don't pass the first time, and then they go back again.
Yeah,
and about 70% of those who go back still don't pass. So it's telling me that people don't understand what they don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I've said too, is that they think they can go in there and wing it. And it comes back to what I've been saying, even in classes when I start a brand new class the first night. Vocabulary, if you don't know, it's just like any profession. You go into any profession, everyone has their own jargon. And if you don't understand the vocabulary of the jargon, you're going to have a hard time communicating and understanding what the concepts are.
Yeah, and I'm always interested in, how you measure to figure out where the gaps are, right? So what are the best strategies to use if you're having problems and you say like, well, I missed a bunch of questions, but what should I really be studying to improve myself? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, it is. And with a few phone calls with people, I can kind of dissect, where their strengths and weaknesses are, and kind of help guide them through that process. But it is it's daunting for a lot of people. And here's the problem: sometimes when people come from other states, they try to take what they've learned in that state and dump it in here. And yeah, the principles of real estate are basically the same across the country, but the laws and some of the techniques are a little bit different. And that's, I think, where they have their issues, where they're taking the things that they had in the past from the other state and try to blend them into Florida, which, yeah, in some cases will work, but a lot of times, sorry, it just, we don't do it that way here. Go back to New York. I'm sorry.
So are there tools? Are there tools like something that can help measure where the weaknesses are? I mean, how do you figure out, like, I mean, is there like a practice test? Is there, how do you know this?
Yeah, I mean, there are practice tests at the end of each book, in chapters. Each chapter has a review to kind of test what you've learned in that particular chapter. And then there's a practice end of course exam to kind of, give you your pluses and minuses. I mean, the state of Florida is very specific as to the weight they put on each of the chapters. And I should have put that in the pickup here, but I didn't do that today. I'll do that next time. Where they look at the entire scope of the law and the testing and say, okay, in this particular chapter, we're only going to weigh it out of 100 questions with 2 questions. So if I've only got 2 questions coming out of that chapter, I'm not going to spend 6-8 hours on it. If it's that, I can probably go in there and glean from the way the questions are asked in the reviews that these are the areas that they're focusing on. Now, if I go into another chapter where they've got 8 or 10 questions for the state exam, and we don't know what the questions are, get me right or wrong. We do not know what the questions are, but we do know by the state statute where they weigh those questions heavier. And in the Florida Real Estate University site, there's a link so that you can go there and get a download of the state syllabus. And it tells you specifically by chapter how they weigh them. So if there's a chapter that's really heavy, guess what? I'm going to probably spend a little more time on that chapter. Hey, I hear your birds in the background.
No, that's they're part of the family.
Yeah. So I mean, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that's really helpful. It's useful to know that, the education material is kind of built in a way to coach you through learning the sections that
Right.
the important features in each section,
Right.
but also that the state kind of has a structure
Yes.
that they follow
Yes.
in putting the testing together.
Yeah.
And that's something I bet, most people just never figure out.
Yeah, I think what happens is they jump in and they don't take the guidance I give them. And I mentioned, when they sign up for my classes online, there's a tab right there underneath maybe we need to make it brighter, Pete, or something, so they know to download this, like download.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Let's download this first, and then start getting into the material. So maybe we might want to make that a little bit, but it's on the site, and the state, updates their syllabus, and we keep it current so that, again, if you're stuck in a chapter, and I get questions about the most popular one is the math. All right, there's 100 questions. There are 90 questions that are very specific. There's either a right answer or a wrong answer, and you can probably find the right answer by process of elimination and basically knowing the material. The math, okay, excuse me. There's 10 math problems. I could probably show you how to do 5 out of the 10 by just being able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and you will come up with the correct answer 90% of the time. Yeah, there's going to be a couple of them in there that'll throw you for a loop. You know what? It's 1 point. I'd rather spend my time on the other 90 questions that I know I can find the specific answer and not be, swayed away from it. It's there. It's right in front of my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that the first night of class. I'm terrible in math. Well, I sucked in math too. I learned how to get around that stuff. You kind of make your way through it, and You learn it. Don't expect to know it the first day. I mean, they'll put a question up there about amortization, and they say, okay, amortize this to the third month. And everyone's going, oh my God, I can't do that. Well, think about this. There's two things that are there, principal and interest. One goes up, one goes down. So if you can do that, you've eliminated two of the choices. And by looking at the answer choices, you can look and say, oh, wow, this one's gone down a little bit more in interest and the principal's gone up. Maybe that's the answer. So you can do process of elimination, deductive reasoning for some of the math problems.
Yeah, I think a lot of that just goes to what kind of experience someone has with things like mortgages.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
once you've kind of swum in that world a little bit, and you really get a sense for how they operate, and you've gone through a few or
right.
worked with originators, after that you get, so you think in terms of how these things work.
Right.
I think a little more easily, and that's just an experience issue, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then you get into the part about surveys and people go, oh, I can't remember. Well, guess what? An acre is 43,560 square feet. If you can remember that, you won't have any problems with that. So again, there are little techniques and things that I've learned over the years that I pass on to people. And if I'm doing a one-on-one with someone, I can pretty much, after we're talked, figure out where your weaknesses and strengths are and guide you to the places where you need to spend some more time studying.
That sounds like a way to really cut to the chase. I mean, I've had to prep myself for other professional exams, and
right.
I had nobody to work with. I mean, there was nothing. I had to go grind through the material a lot, and go hope I had done enough.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's daunting. But when I saw these stats here that just got emailed to us, I'm going, wow, we had 100 and something thousand people. State of Florida makes money off of real estate, man. Think about all those application fees and testing fees of over 100,000 people. I mean, and that was last year during COVID that people were doing this. So you can imagine where we're going to be back again. Our numbers are going to, jump again in the foreseeable future. So again, I think that if you're thinking about getting a license, there are tons of schools out there that provide the pre-license and post-licensing and continuing ed, just like I do. About 80-90% of us all use the same material from Dearborn, which is the biggest publisher in the country for real estate materials. And it's all provided through our eCampus, which is our portal for all of our educational courses. And we provide all of them. I mean, the pre-license, post-licensing, CE, we have it available. We're not doing live streaming right now, but we're talking about doing a blended live stream. We have it on demand where you can take it at your own leisure, or you can do it in the classroom. Now, classrooms right now still are not booking like they were in the past, but people are starting to think about that. But if you're conscious of your time and you really can't go to a classroom, twice a week or do the live stream, because those two are seat time. Understand that there's different ways the state analyzes each course. If you go to a classroom, you got to be there for the 63 hours. Yeah, you're allowed to miss 8 hours, but you're in the seat that entire time, and you got to be there Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 10, and you don't want to miss anything. Same thing with the live stream. It's just as if you're in a classroom. The only one that I've been and Pete and I have been talking about this, is taking the on demand, which there's no seat time. So if you're really good at comprehending the material and you get the vocabulary, you can get through that material a lot quicker than normal. And I got somebody else buzzing through, but I'm not going to take it. You can get through that material. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and have a conversation and kind of see where your strengths and weaknesses are, do a couple of prep tests to see where we need to go back and make it part of your curriculum. Right, Pete? That's something you and I have been talking about doing, and just now, how do we institute it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate having to wait, to take a test to figure out if I know something. Man,
right.
I'd rather have a way to understand. You're really good over here, but you got to focus on these other two
right.
ideas or these
right.
concepts, and then zero in on that stuff. improve the areas that there's a weakness, so that when you go to take the test, you're a lot more focused on executing in the places where you had a problem before, now that they're not so much an issue.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else to add other than I'm here. You can reach me on my cell phone. I'll give you the number scrolling on the bottom of the screen, but I'm going to give you my cell. You don't have to call the 800 number. My cell phone is on at 941-544-7470. 941-544-7470. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be introducing some other instructors. I was just on the phone with Mike a couple of minutes ago before we got on the air. He couldn't be on today. We're going to get him on, and Teresa and some others. They'll be available too to be on call. And if you haven't signed up for my course, that's okay. Call me. I'll be happy to give you a second look under the hood for you, and kind of give you an outside view of what I see that maybe your strengths and weaknesses are. If you use me, that's great. If you get through the course and you need to take your post-education, let me stress that right now. We are now in February the 8th, March 31st. All of you out there who have friends in real estate, half of you have to renew by March 31st, the other half in September. Do not wait until March 28th to go, oh my gosh, I've got to take my 45 hours. Get it done now. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't procrastinate it. Get it finished as quickly as possible so that you're not in that precarious situation of having your license go null and void.
Yeah, especially if you have an area that trips you up, you don't have any time to recover and go take the exam again.
Yeah. I mean, they've changed the requirements. You used to have to sit out 30 days, and that would drive people nuts because here it is the 15th, and you failed 15th of March, and you got to sit out 30 days, and the deadline's the 31st. You're SOL. And I'd have people crying to me about it. Go, well, you had 18 months to get this done. And it's same with the brokers that, they've got to complete 60 hours of post-education within that 2 years or that 18 months. And there have been times, previous issues where I've had brokers call me up and say, I've got to get my 60 hours in the next 5 days. And I go, good luck, Tonto. You're really up the shit creek, and here's how I can help you. And if you're wanting to do this, I'm available. Just bring your checkbook and get your butt here as quick as you can. So, well, Pete, anything else you want to throw in the pot so that we can maybe have it for digestion, or anything that I might or should have kind of hit on?
Well, I just like the idea that, if people have questions about specific areas or pieces of a business that they don't really quite get, or they seem to be not working very well with, that, let you know.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how easy it is to, once you understand somebody has an issue, zero in on that piece of content, as opposed to not having anything to work with.
Yeah.
So I just think, it's tremendous that, if some students were, working on, something that had to do with how title works or something specific, inspections, and they keep getting tripped up, just ask for that content, and you might find there's a podcast about that popping out any minute.
Yeah, and that brings me to the next part. Yeah, that has been in the works. I had a little setback there for a couple of months, about a year. We're going to now being more aggressive about getting those podcasts up and about, so that you can have individual content provided to you. We'll have multiple instructors having dialogue about the material, so that it'll make it more palatable and digestible. Again, it's brand new vocabulary. We try to make it as easy to understand as sliced bread, if there's such a thing. And we're hoping that you will, if you are thinking about getting your license, you would come to FloridaRealEstateUniversity.com. If you're coming from another state, before you do anything, before you even move here, call me, because there are some requirements and some shortcuts that I can show you that instead of you having to go through this entire process all over again, because if you have a license in another state, there may be ways for you to spend less time and less money to become licensed here in Florida. So that's another benefit. And again, the call is free. You can call me on my cell, 941-544-7470, or hit me up on Facebook, and I'll be happy to guide you through the process. Pete, it worked. You sounded really good, actually. I really, this was the first time trying a incoming call on the remote, and it worked great.
It was good sound on this end too, and glad to get a chance to talk to you and your listeners today.
Thank you. See you later.
Goodbye.
All right. Well, that's it. I appreciate everyone who's listened, watched, and commented, Kel and others. I will try to be doing these weekly with health permitting. I'm going through some issues and not nothing dramatic. Yeah, it is dramatic, but I'm dealing with it. I'm doing good. And I just want to have this opportunity to get the word out that I am here if you need questions answered. I won't get into anything legal. Don't ask me legal questions about contracts and stuff like that. I can't do that, but I will guide you if I can to the proper source. Again, this is Vinny DeRosa with Florida Real Estate University, and I'm the Florida Real Estate Instructor here since 1980. And thank you for checking in, and thanks. Goodbye. See you again soon.